Yeah. Okay.
Oh, there we are. Hey, Dr. Wall, so excited to have you here today and welcome everybody that's jumping in. We are so psyched to bring this amazing weekly wisdom live to you, which is brought by the Women of Impact and Innovation International. And it's honoring wisdom while building the next generation of innovative women leaders. And Dr. Wall, I think you have to put yourself on mute because I think we've got some background noise. There you go. Let's see if that works. Awesome. So we're learning technology here, ladies and gentlemen, so just bear with us. But each month, we're going to be focusing on one topic, and each week we'll be diving into different aspects of that topic. And this month's topic is on, oh gosh, I just drew it. Wait, Sabrina's going to shoot me. Anyways, do you remember Dr. Wah?
It's International Stress Awareness Month.
Look at there. I almost got stressed out from it. So International Stress Awareness Month. Thank you so much for saving me on that. And my name is Pearl Sharenza, and I am the owner of Women Successful Living, where I empower women to put themselves first without guilt and forget being that people pleaser. And today I have my guest host, Dr. Wall, with us, and we're share today. And we're going to 3 points on benefit you this amazing subject of reducing stress in our lives. So we want this to be an interactive experience. So please enter any questions or comments in the chat box, and we're going to address those responses and questions as much as possible. So Dr. Watt, I would love for you to introduce yourself to our amazing guest.
Well, hello, ladies of WOIII. And if you're not part of this, we would love to have you on board. But this is a topic that I am very passionate about. But my name is Dr. Huang Nguyen. I'm an eye doctor by trade, but I'm very big into the investing world as well. And so I love to have women really, really elevate their life in all different spokes of the wheels. And so stress management is a key factor in really elevating your life and living your best life. And that's really what my passion is about, focusing on elevating other people's lives in all different areas, both in health and in wealth. So welcome everyone. And so Pearl, I'm excited that we really, like she said, we want this to be interactive, women. So if you guys have any comments or questions, please follow along with us and put it in the chat. Okay. But Pearl, take it away.
So, Dr. Watt, I am a believer, and I love to coach with my clients and reminding them that, our mind can be our best friend, but it can also be our worst enemy at the same time. And having tools in our toolbox to help us overcome some of that. And one of the things that I love to talk about is that positive intelligence. Like, how can you keep that positive mind when things show up in unexpectedly? I lost my son a year ago to a tragic car accident at a young age of 25. And,
Wow.
I mean, sure, I was stressed out, anxiety, everything you could think of, going through grief. And I, I had to go back into my toolbox. I coach on this all the time, right? But how do I manage the stress of the tragedy of it, and then the whole process of what happens? You don't plan to bury your children. And so I remember that, I had to remember who my saboteurs were. I'm a people pleaser. I risk take, and all those things were starting to creep back up in the loss of him. And so I had to go back and have that stopgap and go back to what I name my saboteur. And her name is Betsy. And so I had to realize that Betsy was showing up way too much in my life. And so I had to sit down and go back to what was my simple steps that I helped myself through stress. And one for me, and I'm sure you can relate to this, is like journaling and meditation. Those are the two big things for me to help calm my mind, relax my breathing, and just kind of live in that moment of what can I control right at this minute. I couldn't control all the craziness that was happening. And so I was really went back to that. And one of the things that I remember was that, my son Matt and my son Nate always saw me when things would come up and stress me. If I wasn't on target, or if I wasn't, responding well, they were allowed to yell buffalo. That was their word with me, like, "Hey, buffalo, mom." And I was like, "Oh, I got to fix that." Right. So my word became for me personally was Betsy. And so I took Betsy and was like, we aren't doing this anymore. When the boys see me, I always live with my cape. I love to I say, wear your cape first and wrap it so tight you can button it in the back. And you can have that if you're taking care of yourself right, you have that extra love to take care of other ones and bring them into that wrapping. And I knew, Dr. Wall, that I could not change that way of living just because Matt wasn't here. Because really, then what was I doing when he was here for the example, right? And so for me, truly with stress and anxiety, and I have my waves that come through with the loss of and grief, but I also have those waves that, Dr. Wow, when things are going good and like you're starting to, especially in your business, if you're an entrepreneur, you start to see that trajectory of jumping up, and then something wants to come and be like, oh, no, 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 let me get in your way. So I go back to Betsy and have that conversation. You're not showing up today. So those are some of the things that I try to go to. So tell me, Dr. Wah, how does that relate for you, and what are some of the things you do?
Well, first and foremost, my condolences and thank you for sharing that so much. That's so critical. For me, every single person has gone through a loss of a loved one, of someone they know, right? In grief and managing our everyday, we wear many hats. Most women by nature are multitasking. We just do it just by nature, whether you're a mommy, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a spouse, and you have all these different hats and roles. And so for me, being all those different multiples of little 8-year-old girl, I'm a wife, I'm a business owner, entrepreneur, and I speak a lot. And so wearing all these hats. And so I think it's really important that what you mentioned about, meditation, having a routine to start your day to calm your mind. I do breathing exercises and deep breathing and just slowing down your parasympathetic system, because we're on flight mode, we're on the go. But if you really can control your breathing and meditation and gratitude practice in the morning, it sets the tone for the day, what you're really grateful for, because we all will have adversities and challenges, and that's expected, right? But what you can control is just your internal emotions and how you react to things and how you keep your mind at peace. Because I think that's one of the most big things is if you make a problem and it seems too big, it becomes overwhelming. And when stress levels get high, it starts to snowball. It starts to create this domino effect of negative emotions and stacking, and it becomes very overwhelming. And so I like to take bite-sized bits. I break down whatever it is, and so first, meditating, breathing, set the tone for the day. Your subconscious mind, we're most of the time, probably 90% of the time of what we actually do and think comes from our subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind, we're pre-programmed from a very young age. And if you really don't go through the proper healing channels and you don't intentionally work on that and let you feel those emotions, right? But you also, I have to make sure that you're listening to things that you reprogram your subconscious mind to these positive affirmations. I listen to my way to work. Whatever opportunity I get, if I'm working out, I'm listening to positive things. If I'm driving to work, if I'm taking my daughter or picking her up or anything, I'm listening to something that's going to feed my mind, my soul, my heart in a positive way, because subconsciously your mind picks up all of that, and that impacts your day-to-day actions and how you think, because most of us, a lot of the stress comes from our own self-negative emotions and thought processes. And so I would share that aspect of managing stress, and it's intentional. It's a learned practice. It's not something that you naturally can just happen. And there's a lot of resources and on like podcasts or YouTubes and things that you read or listening to that can really help feed that. What do you think, Pearl?
Sorry, I forgot to take myself on mute. No, I agree with you, and I totally agree with you. Like your day, how you start your day is so impactful, and a lot of times I'll talk about affirmations and people go, oh, that sounds so woo-foo. Oh, well, so woo-woo. And I'm like, I get it. I remember when I first started, I was like, yeah, I'm going to stand in front of my mirror and be like, oh, I'm going to have this great day today. No, I get it. And so one of the things I recently learned, I heard a friend of mine introduce me, and I can't think of the person, but it was like, wow, what a different way to look at things. And I'm all about, if it's not working one way, how can we flip the switch and make it work a different way for you? And so the thought behind affirmations is like, you're manifesting, right? You're telling you're letting yourself know, and you're opening up to the things you want. So I love this new thing I've learned that I'm starting to do with myself and with some of my clients, is that asking the question, like, let's say you want to bring abundance of money, like income into your life. So maybe you stand in front of the mirror and say, I have all the money that I need or desire. Well, that might sound kind of like foo-foo to you. So what if you say, in what ways am I going today to open up opportunities to bring more income into my life? Right. So now you're kind of telling your brain, open up and look for these opportunities, right? Or maybe you want to have more balance, right? So in what way how am I creating balance? How am I releasing things that do not serve me, right? Maybe for me, the people pleaser, I said yes to everything, and I was so overwhelmed. So I had to create a habit of how to say no to things. And I did that with a pebble. I had to put a pebble in my pocket and move it 3 times during the day, or put it in my bra strap and move it 3 times during the day, saying no to something. So therefore, when I was saying yes, it meant that I really wanted to do it. But the bigger picture was, I was actually, by saying no, opening the door for somebody else to step in and do that task or that function that maybe I was blocking them from doing. So I've started this new asking way with my affirmations. So, asking or saying, what am I doing today to have more balance in my life? What am I doing today to release those people that are not serving me, right? Maybe if you're sitting and you're listening to us and you're going, I don't want to do the foo-foo or those things, those might be some ways you can start that. Another thing for me that I struggle with, I never did meditation, Dr. Wall. I was like, really? Meditate, be quiet with myself? I was like, no way. I met this amazing, amazing, amazing meditation coach. She's actually in Canada. And she taught me 2 years ago in January. I spent 30 days, every day, twice a day with her, learning to meditate with complete silence. Now, if you're listening and you're sitting here, I mean, to be quiet with our own mind, it's like, wow, that could freak you out, right? But I would say by the end of week 2, I was like, oh, this is becoming easier, right? It's like creating the habit and learning how to connect with that quietness of your body and your thoughts. It was really, really powerful. So, trying, to me, I think the point I want to make is, try something different. If it doesn't feel right, like if standing in front of the mirror and saying, I am beautifully and wonderfully made, I'm going to have all things I deserve today, doesn't feel good to you, then say, hey, how am I beautifully made? How am I bringing more beauty into my life? That might be something that changing it up for you would work.
That's amazing. I really loved you sharing that because, yeah, if it doesn't feel right for you, it has to resonate with you, right? So that it feels that you feel the impact. Because if you're doing it, you're like, well, no, it's not for me. It's not the right. And that's okay. Because meditation, just like you, it was very challenging for me because my mind would wander. I could never get into the space. And it took practice, it took repetition. And it had to be different types of meditations for me to find one that like I resonated with. And I have to visualize it and I listen to my breathing and I focus on that. But it's different ones because sometimes I'll just sit there and I can't meditate and be in peace. So it takes practice. One of the points I want to also talk about is more the health aspect of like nutrition and just overall health and the impact because some of the big sectors of health when we're dealing with management of stress is when we're talking about getting good quality sleep, having a good nutrition. We focus, my husband and I, we do a lot of focus on anti-inflammatory foods. We don't do any particular diets, but we focus on foods that are more healthy for your gut because when your gut a lot of systemic problems of our health comes from a poor diet, a poor nutrition base. And so, when you improve the quality of the foods and the type that just cutting out a lot of the processed foods and the sugars, and you don't have to go cold turkey. It's just making sure that you eat a little healthier, have more organic vegetables, or hydrate really well. Just move your body. It doesn't matter what method of movement, but when you have good nutrition and you have good movement and you have quality sleep and your cortisol levels go down, like it all goes hand in hand for overall systemic health, because stress is a silent killer. And so, it is, and we see it, we see it so much in our patients, right? And then once they're able to modify lifestyle changes, not any particular diets, but true lifestyle changes, and make small adjustments, little thing here, little here, and it adds up over time. And that really helps you manage, your level of stress better when you're able to sleep better, when you're able to eat better, and your immune system's stronger. And so, I would encourage, if you're listening in and and you're going through a lot of being overwhelmed, or you're having any health issues, the weight is the byproduct. Everything else, as far as when you work little by little, is nutrition. You always hear the 80-20. It's 20% exercise, 80% nutrition. But I will say movement, whether it's just getting outside and walking for a little bit, dancing, whatever it is, just move your body and you will feel better. It just puts you in a different mood. And it will automatically minimize some of those stress.
Oh my gosh, I totally agree with you. That was one of the things, like I got my naturopath coaching certification, and that was one of the things, that gut and your liver. I mean, all that stuff sits in there, and it affects you. And, I lost over 60 pounds back about 8 years ago, and I caught myself with the loss of Matthew going back to some of those old habits, not moving, not getting out, and I called my personal trainer. I'm like, I need to get back on track. I need, reaching out for help is another good thing to remember too, is don't go about this by yourself. Reach out to somebody that can help you, whether it's a friend, a professional, whoever that is, that can help you start that movement or start that healthy way of living. There's all kinds of things that are out there, but find something that works for you and then work it to the best of your ability. And remember too, don't, we're talking about stress. I used to always tell my clients when we were just working on the health part, life's not a remote. You can't rewind. You can't change something you had yesterday. However, you can change the habit you start to create, and maybe recognize and sit with and journal with, why did I make that choice? What was happening that I emotionally stressed myself out so much that I made that choice, right? And to recognize that. And then movement. I live in a great neighborhood. We're, my husband, we went from an acre and a half of land to 12 feet between us, but I can walk to everything. If I'm doing a meeting with somebody, I can ride my bike up to the restaurant, like all that stuff, because I love the whole movement part of it. And then what I love too is the quietness, right? So on my front porch, I have a twin bed swing on my front porch, and I will lay on that sometimes during the day and take a nap. I'm right across the street from a school, so sometimes the moms are in front of my house parked. I'll go up to the window, I'm like, "Hey, why don't you come sit in my swing and just take some quiet time for yourself?" It's okay. And like you were saying earlier, Dr. Well, we as women, we get so busy, and we think we have to put so much on ourselves that when it comes to us eating and sleeping the right way, we put ourselves last. And really, that you have, and I know we hear this all the time, you guys. And I know if you're listening, you're going, "Oh yeah, put yourself first, pour in your cup first." But it's true, because you can't show up for those that you love if you're not taking care of yourself. And life is so crazy right now, and we have to be that example for our children, because it's just going to get crazier. All, social media, everything that's at their fingertips, it's so crazy, but we have to be the example of putting ourselves first. So I think that for me, it leads to making better choices when you eat and such as well.
Absolutely. Well, we are running up to that time, and we are really appreciate you. But I'm going to have Pearl let you guys fill you guys in what's upcoming for the rest of Wisdom Week. So fill us in. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, though.
I have to find that unmute button. I was like, oh, where's it at? Yes. I'm like, where did it go? Yes, I'm so excited to be here. And I want to thank everybody for joining us. I hope the conversation was helpful to you. And if you have any more questions or just comment, we'll get back to you for sure. But we want to thank you for joining us. And we hope today's innovative nuggets of wisdom has inspired you to take action towards an even greater life. And please remember to put in your calendar that we do this weekly, and we have different times. So if you want to go and follow us on your weekly wisdom with your WOIII sisters, and if weekly is not enough and you want to be part of a vision of being the innovative resource of global initiatives for thought leaders and passionate disruptors, we ask you then to please visit our website of Women OIII, so it's womenoiii.com, and research all the opportunities to become a part of the WOIII, from VIP memberships, events, and even brand ambassador board positions. We'd love to have you. Have an amazing week. And I want you to remember to go live unapologetically with honor, gratitude, and disruption. Remember, keep rising because you are powerful. Thank you.